Good afternoon and welcome to Hoosier Living. If you like this video, I hope you'll subscribe to our channel. For today's project, we're going to do a wind chime with glass chimes. And I'm going to go through a list of all the materials and things we need to get started. I've got some of this stuff through several of the steps, so it's going to cut back on the time. But I'll explain all the things that have to be done. And then we'll get started on putting one of these together. Okay, first off, you're going to need some glass pieces, and it doesn't matter what the size or shape is. These are all just about an 1/8 inch thick, and you can use any shape, any size. If you get them too narrow, they're going to break easy, so if you keep them somewhat like an inch or 3/4 of an inch or wider, they'll hold up better, you know, in a heavy wind. You can buy this glass at a lot of hobby stores. You probably have stained glass supplier someplace in your area. If not, you could order them online. I order 1-foot squares, and I just randomly cut shapes and sizes, and then I sand the edges. This is 220 sandpaper, and just sand the edges, just knock the sharp edges off. That way nobody gets cut, and you don't get cut when you're putting this stuff together. And as you can see, this piece doesn't have any holes in it. But you're going to need a hole in it to hang the glass. What I've done, I've gone online. I purchased these. These are 1.75 millimeter diamond coated bits. They're solid pieces of metal with if you can see, there's a diamond crust coated on the end of it. And these bits will drill through this glass very easily. All these pieces I've got ready for this chime are already been drilled, but you just drill slowly and keep it wet, and it'll drill through that glass in no time. So that's where you take care of those. Well, like I said, you can buy these online. That's where I ordered mine. You might be able to buy them at a local tool supplier. Now, like I said, I've already got all these drilled, and you can see the edges have all been smoothed off. There's no sharp edges on any of these. So all these are drilled and sanded. They're ready to be hung. I've got the wood ready to tie the chimes onto. And we still need some holes drilled, but we'll go ahead and tie the chimes on first, and then we'll worry about the hanging part of it later. Okay, I've cut me off a piece of fishing line. I've got it tied around. I've tied it in a knot here. On this, I'm going to put some super glue on it because I don't want the knot to come untied. Just put the smallest little amount of super glue in there in a gel, and that'll help keep it together for the long term. Let that dry, and then we'll go ahead and cut some more and get them tied off to the rest of the pieces of glass. It's better to have your string too long than too short. Okay, I know now we've got a drill for the wire to hang it by. So I've already marked this piece there and there. It's on the opposite side of where the holes are. This is about 1/2 inch thick wood. Go ahead and drill a hole here. Doesn't have to be precise. Just need to drill through it. Not too close to it. Okay, there's one. Two. Okay, for hanging these, you can use 2 different ways of doing it. There's probably more than that, but I've used 2 different ways. One is to use fishing line to tie into here and here, and then you'll have this ring attached to the fishing line for hanging it on a nail or a hook, and this washer will protect the line from wearing thin. And for today, we're going to use this thin wire that I have, but sometimes the wire that you need is not available or you can't find it. Fishing line works great. So we'll go ahead and get some wire cut, and we'll get this ready to hook up. wrap this around a few times and cut it off. Small pair of cutters. There we go. Okay, now we just got a couple beads here we're going to put on the end of the wire. Slide it down, one for each side. It's not something you have to do, it just helps decorate the wire hanger on it. Then you slide that one over there out of the way. Go ahead and slide this piece through the top of the wood. Pull it down a little ways. Once you got it tied or pulled down a little ways, we'll go ahead and twist it on. There we go. Cut that one off. Now we've got both ends tied off. We're going to slide the bead on each side, straighten the wire out a little bit, and that's ready to hang. We just got to get the chimes hung on there. We'll begin tying the chimes off. The glue should be dry on all those from where we tied the knots on one end. And we've got a free end on this, and we'll tie them off. The trick is getting them all hung in the right height. Now when you hang the glass, you don't want the glass hanging too far from the bottom of the wooden hanger, because the more string you have between the glass and the hanger, the easier these are going to get tangled up, and then they won't really bang together in chimes. So you want to keep them fairly close to the hanger. You see that's we got there. We don't have very much space. We got maybe 3 inches. So we'll go ahead and again, we'll tie these off, and like I said, we'll keep them fairly close to around 3 inches on this one, because we don't want the glass and the string getting all tangled up, and that's what will happen if you get too long a string. We're going to tie the knots. You don't want to get tied on there too tight, but you want to tie them tight enough that they're not going to come undone and they'll swing freely. So there we go. We got that knot in the works. Get it, I can get it tied tight here. There we go. And you slide that around where it's hanging off the bottom side of the panel or the piece. There we go. Okay, we got that one tied off. We'll go ahead and cut off the excess fishing line. You don't want a bunch of that hanging off there either. Cut that off. And then once again, we're going to put a drop of super glue on the knot to hold that in place for the long term. We don't want it coming untied. And doesn't take much, just takes a drop on there. You can't even see it, but this is a super glue gel. It works good. So let that dry. We'll go ahead and start on the rest of them. And you can choose any order that you want these to hang as far as the colors, just whatever suits you. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's another piece right there. Got these all set aside. Okay, as you can see here, I've got all the glass pieces are tied off. The excess fishing line's been cut off. The knots are glued on each one of those. The knots are glued on each piece of glass. So this project is pretty much completed. I've got a tape measure up there so you can see the overall size of this. Just random sizes. There's nothing locked in where you have to be a certain size. Just keep your glass fairly close to the top. To the bottom of your wood. And that'll prevent them from getting tangled up all the time. If you get them too long, they'll be swinging around and tangling up when they blow in the wind. It's a quick, easy project. You're just going to spend most of your time cutting your glass, sanding all the edges, and drilling your holes. Other than that, you don't have much time in this project. It's quick and easy and kind of fun project to do. It's nice to listen to. So if you enjoy this project, and if you'll subscribe to Hoosier Living. We appreciate it. Thank you, and have a good day.